Ready to this year's first Texas Roadhouse press conference of the 2019-20 season. It's getting ready to be a busy time on campus. Football reported this past Friday and had their first practice of fall camp earlier this morning. Men's and women's soccer, men's and women's cross country, and volleyball all come to campus on Friday and began this weekend. And then the remainder of our student athletes will come to campus on the 24th, or the 23rd of that weekend. All right, we'll get started today with UT Permian Basin Director of Athletics, Scott Farmer.
Thank you. Kind of going to go backwards here for a little bit. I know Ryan just introduced this as the beginning press conference of the school year, but what I'd like to do is kind of go backwards and let's end 2018-19. So I hope everybody got a chance to get one of these. If you haven't gotten one of these, please do. Please get it. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit before, of course, we turn the floor over to Coach and we'll get started on the new school year. Okay? I think all of you, thank you first for coming. Thank you for being here week in and week out. All right, we did about 40 of these last year. And I hope they've been beneficial to you. I hope this is providing you information that you can use throughout the whole week as you cover the Falcons. I think most of you would agree that we had a great year in the sport-wise. I'm not going to talk a lot about the sports. It's all written in that brochure and that pamphlet we just got you. But I think everybody would agree football, even though it was 2-9, was vastly improved. Okay, we were in every game, maybe all except one. Okay, we were right there. All right, we got to learn how to close out. We got to learn how to finish, but we were there. We were a vastly improved team over the year before. Volleyball beat a top 10 team in the country last year. First time ever. Top 10 team. They beat another team ranked about 24th, I think. All right, and they earned their first berth in the Lone Star Conference Championship. Men's basketball. This one is a hard one to believe. July 1st last year. We did not have a coach, and we did not have a single player on the team on July 1st. Okay? We named Coach Josh Newman as our basketball coach, and in 8 weeks he put together a staff, and he went out and created and recruited every single member of that team. And I think you could agree they were pretty competitive last year. And it was just remarkable to me. I remember him coming in and high-fiving the day he got his 5th player on the team. That was in August, by the way. Okay? So quite remarkable job there. Baseball. Not much I can say about baseball, but they just overachieved. Week in and week out, they overachieved. They had the best record since they joined the Lone Star Conference. They had home series wins, they had a road series win, and they qualified for their 2nd straight Lone Star Conference championship. Softball, like volleyball, also had a top 10 win on the year. All right, they had a couple of really good wins. They just need confidence. They need confidence that they can win week in and week out. And our men's tennis team earned its first trip to the NCAA championships. So athletically, that's just a few of the highlights. Again, they're written in that report. That's just some of the highlights of what we accomplished as a team. Why I really wanted to come here today and just visit with you was to give you a little bit behind the scenes. Give you a little bit about what this department does to create the opportunities for our coaches and our student athletes. And hopefully, again, you'll find some of this stuff at least a little bit interesting. Let's start on the internal side of the department because that's not normally as interesting. Our assistant athletic director and our senior women administrator, Erin Bone, is in the audience. Erin does a remarkable job with our compliance program. All right. Soon after we got here, she put together monthly compliance meetings that are well thought out. She follows it up with a newsletter each month. And she's really helped our coaches understand not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. It seems to be working, knock on wood. This past year, we did not have a single violation to report to the NCAA. Very proud of that, because that's hard to do. In fact, I'll be honest with you, we've had one this summer. So we've already had one for next year, so we're not as good next year. But it's inadvertent, and those things are acceptable. You know, it was discovered, it was reported in the NCAA. That's what the NCAA expects. We also had 100% of all the eligibility waiver requests granted. Every single waiver request that Aaron wrote on behalf of the student athlete, the NCAA granted. And I think that's a remarkable number right there. She also helps with our academics, and I could sit up here for hours and talk about our student athletes' academics. I am very proud of them and what they've earned in the classroom. Last fall semester, 52% of all athletes had a 3.0 or better. 52%. It's a great number. 197 to be exact. All right, 35 or 9% of those athletes had a perfect 4.0. All right, they are doing it in the classroom. Followed in the spring semester, 49% had a 3.0 or better, and 10% made a perfect 4.0 or better. Excuse me, not 4.0, but just 4.0. It's kind of hard to better than that. All right, Male Scholar Athlete of the Year in the sport of cross country for the whole Lone Star Conference was Nicholas Whitcock, one of our runners. And the Male Scholar Athlete of the Year in tennis was Raul Stevens. So again, our coaches are recruiting the right people, they're putting the right emphasis, and the student athletes are getting it done in the classroom and on the courts and fields of play. I don't have a lot of accomplishments to talk about in our business office because last fall we lost our business manager. All right, Angelique Santiago, married to a football coach who now works at Syracuse. So Ms. Santiago obviously followed her. Then it was fiance, now it's her husband, to Syracuse. And so we spent the better part of a year operating without a business manager. You know, and operating a $5.5 million enterprise without a business manager is not ideal. I can assure you that. And I think the entire athletic department would agree with me and would like to thank Monica Parrish for her above and beyond the Call of Duty attitude for the last 9 months. She did a remarkable job and kind of kept us afloat. And very proud to announce that Mr. Dan Pack started just a couple weeks ago as our business manager. So hopefully we have that void filled and we can continue to excel in that area. And lastly, on the internal front is our athletic training room. You know, a lot of people, well, they know what an athletic trainer does, right? Yeah, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But they're the first ones there in the morning, and they're the last ones to leave. Okay? Last year, 4,167 student athletes entered the training room seeking some type of information, some type of treatment, some type of evaluation, whatever the case may be. 4,167. Y'all, that's like running a clinic in town. All right, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people every day. We have 403 injuries that were reported and treated, and the trainers oversaw 107 home and postseason events. Again, it's a remarkable job of what they do behind the scenes. First to get here, last to leave. On the external side of the department is probably where the majority of the things were done that more people were aware of. Starting in development, we created a new position, Director of Development for Corporate Sponsors. We thought that there was an opportunity for go out there and put some emphasis on corporate sponsorships and bring dollars in from the community. All right, so we hired Letitia Rinke, who has been in sales in this area for many years. She happens to be the wife of our baseball coach, and she took that responsibility. We changed the philosophy. Instead of cookie cutter, here's a sponsorship for X dollars, and here's one for a little bit more dollars, and here's one for more dollars. Instead of doing it that way, we did a la carte. We said, this is what we have to offer. We went and we sat down and we created partnerships with these individuals and or with these businesses. And we said, what can we do? What can we do to help you grow your business? Well, I think it worked. In 2017-18, we had a little less than $100,000 in corporate sponsorships. In 2018-19, we had $463,000 in corporate sponsorships. So that's a pretty good return on the investment. I challenge her to increase it by that percentage again next year. All right. We also looked at our tickets and looked at our seating out at Ratliff Stadium. We changed how that was done. We opened up the entire stadium. Anybody out there now can go buy a seat anywhere in the stadium. That was not true prior to that. All right, so we opened that up. We created ticket packages. We used a bunch of volunteers and did a 5-day ticket blitz. All right, once again, I think we had some pretty good success. We had 2 years in a row with 2-9 record in football. 2017, we had $116,000 in tickets sold. The next year, we had $224,000 in tickets sold. So even though we didn't have a winning record, I think people appreciated the way that the tickets were done and how that anyone can sit on the 50-yard line now if they just go buy the ticket. And I think it worked. And I think we created some atmospheres out there I'm going to talk about here in a second. And then the third major development on the external side and development in the development area of athletics was we launched the Champions Fund. We have Lynn Andrews with us today, who is our Director of Development for Annual Giving. That's her sole job. The most important thing we're doing in this athletic department right now is the Champions Fund. We will grow this athletic department by the speed we can grow the Champions Fund. All right? When we got here, you've heard me say this before, when we got here, we asked all the coaches what the #1 need was. Without exception, every single one of them said scholarship dollars. We need the scholarship dollars to bring the athletes in to compete in the Lone Star Conference. So we did a little analysis, and they were absolutely right. We were nowhere near where we needed to be. So we launched the Champions Fund last July. 100% of the proceeds of the Champions Fund goes directly to scholarships. It's a little different, and that is an annual fund. It starts over in January of every year. So we started it in June, so in 2018 we really only had, or July, excuse me, we really only had 6 months. We raised almost $250,000 in that 6 months. And we were able to take that money and divide it out and give it into budgets that go into effect next month of this year. So we are about the exact same money right now in the Champions Fund as of August 1st. And actually, we're a little bit more in cash than we were last year. So it seems to be catching on. And I promise you, that's the key to our growth, is that thing. Marketing and promotions. We also have our Director of Marketing and Promotion, Richard Acosta, with us here, who I think just did a phenomenal job in that area the last 12 months. Some things were simple. We did posters and we did schedule cards for all 16 of our sports. But you know what? Those things got out. And I saw them in restaurants, and I saw them on convenience stores, counters when you check out. I saw them all around campus. It helps brand the university. It helps brand the department. And, of course, it gets the word out of what sports we have and when they're playing. So, simple little thing. Richard created all those himself, and they were outstanding. We also created a reserve tailgate section at all football games. We sold spots up in front, the prime parking. We sold 40 of them, sold out of what we created. We had live music, and we had jumpers for the family. What a great family environment those tailgates were last year, and we expect to expand on those this year. We launched a new app. They put an app on my phone. All right, so it's got to be pretty easy to use if I could use it. We increased our web users by 21,500 in 1 year. That's a pretty good jump for this department. We increased new web users by 18,950. All right, now I had to ask, if we did increase them by 18,950, how did we increase all web users by 21,500? Users were going to the website more often. So the ones that went there saw it, they liked it, and they would go back more often. So those are good numbers, and again, we hope to continue to increase that. Sports information held over 40 of these press conferences, covered 102 athletic events. That's how many events we hosted here or in Midland. 102 athletic events last year. Just that number alone shocks some people. They don't realize we have that many home events. All right, sports information with Ryan and Tom produced over 400 articles, game stories, recaps, and press releases. Over 400. That's more than one a day. All right, a lot of work comes out of those offices. So that's why we want to have these press conferences and get more information to you, and you can send special questions or whatever you have to sports information throughout the week. And last, I'll sit down after this. I really want to go back to the student athlete just for a minute. Our coaches and our student athletes volunteered at 73 different events in the Permian Basin last year. All right, that's remarkable to me. They spend all their time trying to perfect the sport that they're in. They're full-time students, and yet they still have time to donate 2,337 hours to this community. And that means a lot to me. All right, that means that shows me how much they're invested in this program, how much they're invested in this community. And I certainly want everybody to invest back in us. So, thank you for being here. Can I answer any questions while I'm standing up here?
Just to tie up everything that you said in a little bow, how excited are you as the athletic director to see just how much growth this still relatively young athletic department has seen?
I think, wow, I'm not real good at telling how excited I am, but I promise you I'm very excited. This past year really ended my first year here. We came in the middle of the previous year, but really last year was our first year, and I am very proud of the growth of the staff. I'm very proud of how the coaches recruit and how they coach their teams and how they hold them accountable and how they represent this university. I think we are headed in the right direction. I think the university is exciting right now, and it's headed in the right direction. Dr. Woodley is absolutely phenomenal, and there's a buzz in town, and that buzz was not here 24 months ago. It just wasn't. So I know athletics is playing a part of that, and we hope to continue to build on it. We have a lot of good things coming down the pipe. You'll see a lot of good things later today when we go and take a tour of our new facility.
How have you felt the excitement of the community rise with all these this success that's been coming right away?
Ask a question.
How have you seen, how have you noticed the excitement in the community rise as well?
Various ways. I see more UT Permian Basin gear. I see more logos than I used to. I see things, again, in the restaurants and convenience stores and just out and about. I hear more talk, whether it's in a waiting room somewhere or if it's walking around shopping or whatever. I hear more talk about UT Permian Basin, commercials. I just think that there's a buzz, and it's made its way around.
You touched on that new athletic facility, and of course it's going to recruit new students, but specifically it's probably going to bring in a lot of student athletes. So how exciting is that, looking at it from an athletic standpoint?
Well, I think a good one to ask that question to, of course, our football coach who's going to be speaking next, and he has statistics on the number of multi-star recruits that he signed this past spring because they could see that building being built. And I think that's just going to happen for all sports because that building will help every single athlete we have, will help every single sport we have. Okay? Going once, going twice. Again, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is head football coach Justin Carey.
Thank you, man.
All right. Welcome. Good to be back. Good to have the first press conference of the year. Excited. Obviously, 6 a.m. this morning we were under the lights like usual. Good to be out there and kind of start to see what the future holds for us for 2019. A couple things just kind of recap that have taken place recently at Lone Star Conference Media Day. Chris Hogue being recognized as Defensive Preseason Player of the Year. Our first All-American coming off of last season. Obviously exciting stuff. Excited to have him back along with Keegan Gray. As far as the duo goes, the top in the country. Chris is obviously #1 in the country at all levels as an individual, and then as a duo, they're leading the country as well as far as tackles at linebacker. Coming off the 2018 season, excited to have John O'Kelly joining us again. Had the knee injury last year. Obviously, it's always good to have your family with you, even at a press conference. So it's that time of year. School kicks up next week, so next week we won't have this luxury. Oh, get another one. All right, this is a first for the press conference, but so having John O'Kelly back with us, healthy. Obviously, we lost him last year to a knee injury. 2 years ago was the freshman of the year in the Lone Star Conference. Being able to get him again back with having Chris Hogue and Keegan Gray for another year. LaDadrian Glasgow, a defensive tackle that came along really strong last year. Excited to see our defense continue to progress just the way they did last year. They really kind of were the reason we were in a lot of games. Offensively, Taylor Knoll finished out the year second in the conference in passing yards per game and starting 9 games, all conference games as a true freshman. Ben Galaviz and Kyle McBride, 2 wide receivers coming back, were both top performers in the conference. Just excited to see some of the new guys come in as well. Brought in a running back transfer from South Florida, Davion Sutton. It was good to kind of see him move around a little bit today. Big, powerful back with good speed. Excited to see what some of the offensive linemen look like and kind of establish a ground game this year. Coming up on September 4th, we got Meet the Falcons here on campus at 6 p.m. An annual event. This will be the first time we've done it on campus. School will be started, but always a great time to be able to shake hands with our fans, thank them for all their support, and obviously for them to meet some of our players. And then obviously first home game coming up September 7th. But we're going one day at a time, like always. So day one's in the books, getting ready to go to meetings, and then get ready for tomorrow.
How'd the guys handle day one?
I thought they did really well. I'm going to see if I can't pass these two off. Maybe just hang out for a minute. We do a run test in the morning. That's a shocker for a lot of guys, especially the new guys coming in. Quote unquote, at the end of practice from a freshman coach, that was nothing like high school. And today was just really a small sample. But a lot of the young guys did well. They responded well. They're just trying to keep their head above water right now, and excited for the next couple weeks, kind of see who can start treading water, who can start swimming, and kind of start to separate themselves and be ready to play in this conference here in a month.
How excited are you going into the season knowing that you already have your quarterback set and he's already had experience from last season? I know last year, obviously, that was the topic of discussion at most of these press conferences.
I don't want to disappoint anybody that might be watching from Colorado, so we'll say it's always an open competition. Taylor did a great job. Obviously, we have Cameron Mathis back for another year. I think the key for us, and Cameron is an integral part to this program, to this locker room, is making sure that he's involved in whatever capacity. And some of it's going to be a quarterback. We got to figure out some other ways to get him on the field. We started to do a little bit of that last year, created some packages for him. Because he's an asset to us, and he's somebody that for sure can help us win ball games. And so it's going to be a balance a little bit of trying to figure out how do we utilize both those guys.
And when it comes to the season as a whole, when you think about it, what really excites you most?
I think besides the kids, the new staff, there's been probably about a 50% turnover on the staff, and I think it's all to the advantage of the team. Obviously, every year, if you got to replace somebody, you want to replace better, whether it be a coach or a player. We're always trying to improve, and I think we were able to do that on the staff. I think we were able to improve our staff, just the years of experience, the knowledge that guys bring to the table, which is going to help our players to continue to develop, especially having so many younger ones. But I'm excited, just all the newness. 50 plus new players, half a new staff, a lot of exciting stuff.
A lot of those new guys are local guys too, so what's that mean to the Basin?
Well, I think it's great for the Basin. It should help with the support that they can come out and watch some of the guys that they've been watching. Jeremiah Cooley from Big Spring. He's our first guy from Big Spring in the program. Josh Traylor from Midland Lee. Rakib Adiemi, Dawson Reynolds, Ed Williams from Permian. Guys that we expect to contribute. How early? We'll find out. All of them have the ability to play early on, but there's a lot of competition, and everybody kind of develops at a different pace, but there's going to be a lot of familiar faces.
Coach, talk about finally getting a class to a senior year, 4 years.
I will say it's a bit of a relief, that there's, I think probably 22 seniors on this team.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like a long time coming. It also feels like it was just yesterday. But it's good. Each year we talk about the growth of those guys, and guys like Chris Hode, Ben Galaviz that have been in this program for 5 years now, going into their 5th year, and their ability to understand really what leadership's about, what that role is. And again, they didn't have an opportunity early on to mimic anybody else, to watch anybody else, and kind of just had to learn on the run. Not that they've done a great job. I heard Ben this morning in the middle of a drill with Coach Messenger. Some of the younger guys weren't doing well, and Ben had a few words of encouragement that to do the drill poorly or inefficiently wasn't acceptable, wasn't tolerated. And those are some of the things that you just didn't hear in the years past, and just continuing to grow with that leadership and development. 5th year guys, 4th year guys, it's a bit of a relief.
I mean, that's
Mr.
something that's been big for you. I mean, obviously building the locker room like that, so.
Yeah, and I think as coaches, I think we failed. As a head coach, I think I failed early on of not creating enough leadership opportunities. I talk with our staff a lot. We tend to preach what they need to do instead of teach. And whenever it's time to teach, we're good at football. We go run plays, we practice those plays, we go back and review film to correct what things went wrong with those plays, and then we just go tell them that you need to be a leader. And we don't put them in opportunities to practice leadership and then to correct those things. And it took me too long in the process to start figuring out different ways that we can implement practicing leadership. And I think it's starting to show and pay off. But it's been great having these guys that have been dedicated to the program for 4 or 5 years, and these two for 3 to 5 years.
On or off the field, we've mentioned a lot of different sides of the ball and also leadership off the field. So what facets of the team do you think should people really look out for coming into this one?
The team. Look out for all of them. Come out September 7th, watch them all. Excited about every phase of it. I think just coming off last year, there's more buzz about our defense. Keeping us, we were up 17-14 against reigning national champs, Texas A&M Commerce, and lose the game 20-17. And defense was a backbone for us. And there's the saying that defense wins championships, and I wholeheartedly believe that. And I think they gave us opportunities for that last year. And a lot of those guys are back, so I'm excited for those guys. I think that's going to be a buzz going into it. After that, I'm excited to watch our offense get to work and our special teams take another step. I think our kicking game is going to be much improved. I think the Falcons are going to be exciting.
And Scott kind of deferred to you, talking about the athletic facilities. So can you kind of just talk about how that's going to affect your program and recruits coming in?
Yeah, I think first off, we added 9 scholarships from last year to this year with the help of Dr. Woodley and Scott Farmer to kind of go out on that limb and bless the program with more money to go out and recruit. And that's where, for me, it all starts. You got to have the money to sign the kids. Last year we were at 66% funding. This year we're going to be about 90%. And closing that gap gave us the opportunity to go recruit. Then $37 million facility that's actually under construction. You can see that there's dirt. There wasn't anything really going vertical at the time, but construction was happening and there was a lot of movement going on. And now the kids can kind of see that the dream is really coming to fruition. Where before that we were still just selling a dream. Once we started breaking ground, it was a different story. There was a different buzz across the state, and every kid we talked to, coaches, I can't tell you the number of coaches that just commented on the facility that was being built and what they had heard. They might not have even seen the video. So I think 2 things. One, adding to our scholarship allotment, and then obviously having that facility is a game changer for us. It's going to be the best facility in the country.
As a whole, we've talked about a lot of different parts of the team, and of course the Lone Star Conference, a lot of competitive teams out there, but what do you think makes this team really unique?
Great question. I don't know yet. We're 1 day in, so it's kind of hard to say here's what makes us unique, or here's what we're going to kind of be known for, at least in our own private sector. It's kind of the things that we'll be looking for and trying to identify over this next month is what separates us and what makes us a unique team. I don't have that answer today.
When it comes to Davion Sutton, obviously brought him in for a reason. So what did you see in him that inspires you to bring him over here to add to the backfield?
Well, first off, having Coach Victor Gill as a run game coordinator, O-line coach, also coached him at South Florida. There's an immediate connection. And for Coach Gill to come in and go, hey, here's the guy that knows the offense, can understand what it is we want to accomplish, and stand up on the table for the type of character and the type of man that he is, was first and foremost. And then when you turn on his film, he's roughly 6 foot tall, 5'11", 225 pounds, and can run. And it doesn't take you very long to go, I like that. But the character of the man that we brought in, and again, having a coach that had a relationship with him, first and foremost. All right. Thank you. I've lost my teammates.
Okay, next up is first-year wide receivers and special teams coach Rob Messenger.
I believe this is my first press conference ever, so yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. But very excited to be here. Hit the ground running. I think I've been here for about 3 weeks now. It's been a great transition. I don't think I could have scripted it any better with Coach Kerrigan and the rest of the coaches, and getting around the players here recently and the community. It's been unbelievable. I've loved every section of it so far. So I'm really excited to get started. Kind of about what the facility. It helped recruit me. You know, that was a big thing. I think, you know, when you see a facility like that, it is a visible sign that the school is committed to athletics, obviously, and I think that's really important for a coach, a player, the community, whoever it may be. So that's something that I definitely looked into when the job came open, and then yeah,